of frustration, full of despair. From years of hurt, disappointment, and relegation. Two British football fans have had enough. Canary bird Elliot Holman and wanderer Henry Hewitt are in search of glory, pride, passion, in search of silverware. And they found Major League Soccer.
Welcome along to another episode of the MLS UK show. I'm Elliot Holman.
And I'm Henry Hewitt.
Go on.
I don't know. Guess in!
It had to happen at some point.
Yeah, I proudly walked into the studio today with my Atlanta shirt and thought, right, well, I've had to put up with Orlando shirts on the desk. I've had to put up with all sorts. So today, it's an Atlanta shirt, which is brilliant because it's always going to be in frame for when you're on screen. So
that's the best shirt as well, by the way. That's the OG, isn't it?
Yeah, it is good, that one.
MLS Cup 1.
Yes. You never know what this year's could be.
Come on, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. The main discussion from the Orlando camp, Orlando City UK, before the game was, we haven't lost to Miami yet, and we haven't lost to Atlanta, but we play one of you every week, so it's going to happen at some point. Like we've had the odd moments where we've filmed a podcast maybe straight after Orlando have beaten Atlanta, but the majority of the time, I don't think we've even mentioned it. It's just we play each other so much now. It's just.
Here we go again. After the last episode. The last episode.
How many people agreed with me, though? Everyone was on board with it.
Okay, yeah, they were. But you drew to Miami and you was like, oh, it doesn't matter this year because we're playing everyone all the time. We're not playing any different teams. And now you've lost to Atlanta and you're saying exactly the same thing. I'm just breathing it in. You think if you listen back to a few seasons ago, if I was smug then, I'm going to be smug today.
No, I'll allow it. It's fine. You know, you needed the points more than we did.
We sure did, yeah.
We've kind of, if you love someone, you should set them free. I've set New England Revolution free. They've gone. So we're kind of just in this no man's land of going to make the playoffs, not going to win it. So
you're staying at the moment that you're second. If New England have gone, you're second in the East then?
Well, not quite. But I kind of... It's been a while since we've really, been a while. It's been a long while coming, us being up the top. Now we're there. I'm kind of like, well, as long as you make the playoffs. I was literally spent 5 years of my life miserable. Now we're there. I'm like, well, I suppose as long as we make the playoffs, I don't care.
But as you said last episode, you might as well just finish the season now. No one cares.
Yeah, well, that's true.
We're going to talk more about Atlanta beating Orlando for the first time in 6 games.
Do we need to, really?
Yes, we do. And everything else that happened in MLS this weekend. Is it actually 6? I think it was, yes. Yeah,
wow.
Like I think Atlanta didn't lose in 9 and then Orlando didn't lose in 6.
What a ridiculous battle that's been going on.
Yeah, so it's in sections. So that means Atlanta now won't lose for another 5 games at least, which is 6 weeks basically. Yeah. Also on the show we've got Henry's guide to Toronto. I thought I should try and cheer some Torontonians up.
Yeah, that's season over, isn't it?
Yeah, and we've got returning for this week. We've got 3 lies on the show that you've prepared.
No, it's a Jason Christ. Jason Christ is right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. You told me it was 3 lies on
Did
the
I?
show, yeah.
Oh, that's my bad. It's a Jason Christ.
There we go. Well, have you done that on purpose? You thought he's going to be so smug, I'm going to make him look stupid by telling him in a 5 minutes prep meeting we have before the podcast, I'm going to tell him the wrong thing.
It's because in my head I was thinking, I should have done a 3 lies. So then when you said, have you got a Christ is right or a 3 lies, I've probably gone, yeah, 3 lies. Apologies.
Also, we're going to be looking at this weekend in MLS as well. And I think we all realise...
You told me we were looking at the Premier League.
Yeah. And we do have new MLS UK Show Championship champions that we're looking at as well. But first, as like any other episode of the MLS UK Show, hopefully this week, unless he's lied to me again... We have a game with a change in name.
It's good this week. This is a good one. I'm excited for this one. I had to check the list twice, like Santa today, to make sure that we hadn't done this person before. I don't know why I said person. They are male. It's a male footballer, and they're currently 36 years old.
Ah, right, okay.
Right, okay. They're 36 years old. Let's cross live to Henry Hewitt for an early guess.
It's not Ronaldo.
It's
is
not
it?
Ronaldo. Ahead of his move to LA Galaxy.
Oh, I mean, I said to you before, living in Manchester is just like, I went out in Manchester on Saturday night, and if I hear that Viva Ronaldo song sang, every pub, every bar, just people singing it.
Yeah, there was a festival in Manchester as well, wasn't there? Park Life at the weekend. So Faith, who I do a show with on the radio, she said she lives in Manchester, and she said, well, got visitors over from Italy at the minute and they've never been to the UK before. And I said, oh, it's great in Manchester. You just hop in an Uber, you can get anywhere, or hop on the tram or the bus. And she went, so on Saturday we tried to just go into town, couldn't get an Uber, couldn't get on the tram, we couldn't get a bus. You can't drive anywhere because the city was gridlocked, and the Ubers were costing like 25-30 quid just to get into town. And she was like, it's not going well, this Ronaldo thing, is it?
No.
But it's not Ronaldo. This is a player who's played in the Premier League and in MLS as well. Okay. And they've played... I'm going to give you select teams because it would be quite easy, I think. So they've played for Inter Milan from 2001 to 2006. That feels a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then from Inter Milan, they moved to the Premier League.
Right, okay.
It's not Lukaku. They've also played on loan. This is crucial. On loan from their parent Premier League club. They played for Birmingham City, and they've honestly absolute Seattle legend.
Right. Okay.
They played for Seattle 2013 to 2015, and do you know, in my head, the time that this player was playing for Seattle was when they started to put the MLS All-Stars on FIFA. Right. And in my uneducated view of MLS, I was like, what we got these lot on here for? This is ridiculous. And he was always in this team.
Okay, I think I know. And I think there's a... How can I hint that I know without giving the answer away? Did this guy have a very unique goal celebration?
Yes.
Right, okay, I think I know. If you know, get in touch at MLS UK Show on Twitter and Instagram. Tell us where you're up to on the podcast when you realise.
There's a picture of them upside down.
You can also comment if you're watching on YouTube because it leaves a timestamp as well. And as we always say, don't go to the end, get the answer and come back and go, oh, I know, it's this person. No, we'd know.
And right now, a little word from our sponsors via me.
MLS UK Show with Elliot Holman and Henry Hewitt.
Oh, hi, it's me again. Thanks, me. So soccer90.com is the place to go for all of your club and international gear. Every single MLS club is represented on soccer90store.com. Head there right now.
Yep, and if you find something you like, whether it be MLS or an international team or a European team, then put it in your shopping bag at checkout. If you put MLS UK in the checkout code, the discount code, I don't know what I'm talking about, but hopefully it all makes sense. Type MLS UK and you get an extra 25% off. And some of you may notice that we did a giveaway last week or a few weeks ago. We will be revealing the winner of that very soon.
Good job, mate. Can you believe they paid money for that?
The MLS UK Show.
So let's have a look at what happened in MLS this last weekend then. And first of all, before we talk about Atlanta, Orlando, or any other game, we need to celebrate something that we talked about on the last episode. It's a feature that unfortunately was 1 week and 1 week only. Elliot, I've put the special sound on there. Press the button.
Have you seen what colour it's gone?
It's got orange. Houston finally won a game.
And can I just speak for Orlando and say,
can I have one?
Houston, well done. 3-0 against Austin. I couldn't believe it. On Saturday night, I was watching it going, well, it's 2-0 at half-time. Surely Houston are going to mess this up. Then I saw they were playing Austin and thought, hang on, they could actually win this. They did 3-0.
It hurts a little because I was so on the Austin train. You got your Austin sticker on there.
Yeah.
Oh, It's not been good, has it?
No, it's not. But we talk about Austin a lot. Let's celebrate Houston.
It's happened.
They have got 22 points now, so they are Toronto are probably, we'll talk about them later on, they're probably going to get the wooden spoon. Houston, incredibly, despite not winning since the dawn of time, are 7 points clear of Toronto.
They're gonna win the league.
So well done to Houston, and the feature, which was much loved, and
It was very good. It went down very well.
not with Houston fans.
Well,
In things that has happened since Houston last won a game, sadly, is just for the one episode. But there will be other teams that it's creeping up on, so we'll keep our eyes out. And if they get to, I think a new rule should be, if they get to 3 months without a win, then we'll bring it back.
can I also just bring you something? Podcasters don't talk about their stats, their listening stats very often. Can I just bring you a stat from last episode?
Go on.
Not a single person listening in Houston made it to the end of the episode.
Wonder why.
Not that they got really annoyed at us or anything. Thanks for coming back, guys, if you are listening.
So well done. Congratulations, Houston. We'll see if they can make it 2 wins out of 2 this week, but I'm not holding my breath. Atlanta, Orlando, then we touched upon it. We should talk about it more. I've got to say that when the teams got released, and I know Orlando have got a few injury troubles and players playing internationally, but when I saw that Martinez weren't playing for Atlanta, and I saw that Nani, DK, Mueller coming off the bench for Orlando. I know Mueller's not scored in 10 games, but he was coming off the bench. I was like, I'm worried here. Yeah. I'm worried. This could be difficult. DK up front, I thought he could score a goal. If I was going to put a bet on it, I probably would have said DK to score.
Yeah.
And he didn't get a touch, really, in Atlanta. It was the best I've seen them play in a long, long time. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I didn't watch the game because I was working, but from everything I've looked at since, good performance. Yeah, I've got to hold my hands up. Good performance. If you can shut Daryl DK out of a game, I know he's like not quite really up to fitness yet and stuff, but like if you can keep him quiet, you give yourself a massive chance.
Yeah, and I just think that Orlando didn't offer much attacking wise, and I think rather than that be against Orlando, I think that's credit to Atlanta and Pineda. That was a result he really needed. Lost the first game against Nashville, and I know a few people were. We kind of said on this podcast, we said, is it like the Mikel Arteta effect? You come from a successful side as an assistant, you can't do it as a head coach. But no, he did. And I thought the front three as well, to say that they've not played with each other much, were brilliant. And we didn't miss Martinez at all. So fantastic. And Atlanta now just a point off the playoffs. Or is it level? I don't even... we're either... no, we are a point off the playoffs. So exciting times. Hopefully, we're going into the last third of the season. This is the time. This is the time to put a run together. So we'll see.
What will happen is you'll get into the playoffs, draw Orlando, beat us after having an awful season.
Well, we've got to play you 4 more times before the end of the season for you to the next win. We know what happens.
Do you know what?
Orlando.
We've played you so much, I don't even know if you're joking. I'm not even... I honestly, I don't know if that's true or not, that we're playing you 4 more times. Probably 6.
I watched it on a Fox stream. I've got to say, Stu Holden was presenting, and obviously I've got a soft spot for Stu Holden.
Here we go, Bolton.
He played for Bolton, but he did really well as a host. He hosted it. Brilliant.
Well done, Stu.
Yeah.
Well done, mate.
I'll tell you what, let's start at the top of the East. This was a bit of a feisty game, this one. New England ended up beating NYCFC 2-1. They went 1-0 behind and then ended up winning the game. I mean, you joked before, but I think it's realistically now, New England are out and they're away. They're gone. Like even if you look at the battle for the
NYCFC have still got 3 games in hand. This is the thing.
But still, I mean, if you look at the battle for the Supporters Shield, I mean, you know, it's pretty much game over as it is already. It's
still mad. It's still mad. I 100% appreciate it and I admire it. But where have they come from?
I just think they've got because you look at some of the play, you look at Bo, and you look at the players that have done really well this season. They weren't a horrific team. I just don't think they had a head coach to put everything together, and I think they've got one now.
Yeah.
Who has really put them together. One thing I want to ask though, because New England won, and of what I saw of the game, they deserved to win. I thought, especially after the sending off, it was all New England. It was always going to be, but at 1-1. There was an incident where Kessler pushed Castellanos over. It was a free kick about to come in. And I don't know what Castellanos was doing, but he was annoying him, which is ironic, really, because Kessler, obviously, the week before, there was a lot of... it went viral what he was doing to waste time and wind up Philadelphia Union.
Yeah.
But he pushed Castellanos over and got a yellow card for it. Even though it was not during open play, should that have been a penalty? I don't know the official rules. I don't know whether if it happens off the ball when the game is dead, whether it can be a penalty or not. But if that's technically a foul in the box.
It's a good point. I think if a penalty was given, I probably wouldn't have batted an eyelid. I'd have just gone along with it. I think you'd be annoyed if it's against you. But this is the issue, okay? So Castellanos has got this in him. He's got this nasty streak. And sometimes you don't mind. There's players that kind of carry it, and you only see it like 1% of the time. Nani's got it. It's nowhere near the Castellanos level. But I think we see it a little bit too much from Castellanos, if I'm honest with you.
Well, I think there's some players, if you are a good player and you score goals or you do whatever position you're playing, if you're really good, you can get away with it. If he's someone that doesn't perform but it's just nasty, then there's an issue. But I think Castellanos falls in the bracket of he can get away with it. But 2-1 New England Revolution. NYCFC, they've got 3 games in hand. They've dropped a bit. They've not really played that well in the last few games. I know they've had injuries and stuff. 4 points off the playoffs, but I mean we're confident that they'll stay in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's starting to become quite clear now, I think. Do you think looking at that? I know NYCFC, lot of games in hand. For me, no brainer that they're there. Nashville, love seeing them up there. I know they're ahead of Orlando, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, well, you look at the East and you say they're Nashville there. So New England Revolution 55 points, Nashville 41, Orlando 38, NYCFC 34. Then you've got Philadelphia 32, DC, Montreal 31, Atlanta, Miami. All these teams we'll talk about in a moment. But I would say from Philadelphia down, that's where the position's going to change, and you're
hoping so.
Yeah, but you're in danger. You're either in danger of dropping out, or you could go into the playoffs. I would say the 4 that are locked for me are up to NYCFC.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Nashville haven't lost at home yet. And that is, if you're not going to make the playoffs on that form, I don't know what you have to do. Orlando for me, we've not even been good. It's such a weird year.
Yeah,
we haven't been good,
but you're still highest position you've ever been.
And that is why Nashville are there as well. It's more the consistency than anything. I don't think I've seen us play 3 games in a row and been like, wow, we were amazing that week, so you've only got to look at the likes of Columbus struggling, Atlanta were struggling, Miami have got supposedly a great roster and it's not quite happening. So I think those teams being out down there kind of allows teams like Orlando to be pretty average and still be locked in there.
Yeah, but I mean, the consistency is a good point. And you look at Nashville, their last 3 wins, they've gone to Montreal and won, and then beaten NYCFC, and then gone to Atlanta and won. They're 3 tough games, and they've gone and won it. And it's funny how you say there that Orlando haven't been playing particularly that well. Nashville are playing fantastic, yet there's only 3 points in it.
Yeah.
It's funny how they're different mindsets, and I don't think there's going to be one Nashville fan that's going to look at that and go, oh yeah, we could have done better.
No, I agree. I think they're 2 clubs in very different positions. I think there's a lot of expectation on Orlando these days, and it's because of the roster, it's because of the investment, it's because of the takeover, the coach, and I think they're on a journey. I don't think they're anywhere near where that particular roster could be. Orlando fans might disagree with me. I just feel like we haven't been that great, and I just think if we'd played 10 games and been like this, I'd be like, we could win this league, because if we kick on and actually start performing, we could do really well. But obviously New England are gone now. Absolutely gone.
Do you think New England doing so well has made you think that? Because let's take New England out of the whole league. then suddenly Orlando are second in the East, and then they're only 7 points off Seattle for the Supporters' Shield. Would you be thinking differently then, or would you still think?
No, do you know what it is? We played good football last season,
Hmm.
and this year it hasn't. I haven't watched us and been like, we're amazing. And I think that's why I think we set the standard last year, and it's not really. We've got the results, but not played the football.
Montreal are just in the playoff area, but with Atlanta chasing them and Miami chasing them. They may be a bit nervous. Miami have suddenly pulled some form together. If Nashville have beaten Montreal, NYCFC, and Atlanta, which is impressive, Miami have won 4 in 5, but they've beaten the likes of Chicago and Toronto. They beat Columbus at the weekend. They're beating the teams that are around them, and that's another thing in MLS. And I think when you look at the teams at the bottom, who we've already mentioned, that haven't been nowhere near consistent enough to even trouble the playoffs, suddenly Miami are picking up a bit of consistency, winning the games they should be. And now they're on they're in touch with the playoffs, and they could easily make a playoff place.
They're clawing it back. This is the thing. The start of the season, it was so disappointing. They were in a real poor run of form. We were talking about Neville getting sacked and Beckham having to have that difficult conversation. They've now won as many games at home as they've lost, and that certainly wasn't the case a few weeks ago. So that's we all know. You win your home games, you make the playoffs. Simple. There's no need to delve into anything complicated. That's how it works, and they're starting to claw it back now. And they've had good results on the road as well. Four losses, but they've won 3 games on the road. So that's why they're clawing at Montreal, who are sort of just clinging on in there.
Yeah, they are. I think Montreal. It'll be interesting to see how they end the season. And like I said before, we're into the last third of the season now.
Yeah.
There's so many teams that if they put a run together, if you win the majority, say you win 4 or 5 games, you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it's really like a mini season now to get in.
Cincinnati won 1 home game.
Well, yeah, they've won one now. So you never know, they could win the next 8 games. I'd very much doubt that's going to happen.
The comeback's on.
But
Told you I was on the Cincy train.
Just a point though, before we talk about Cincinnati on Columbus, they've lost 8 out of 9, yet they're only 4 points off the playoffs. Do you think they're lucky, or I mean, would you put any money on them potentially getting in the playoffs?
It's the same for me. The same reason Orlando are up there is the reason Columbus is still alive. They've not been good. It's been I'm so disappointed with Columbus. I can't tell you. From somebody who started watching MLS 5-6 years ago, love the fact that Caleb Porter's there because I've seen him do it at Portland. Love Nagby being there because we've seen him do it at Columbus, at Portland, at Atlanta. Everything's in place. You know my feelings on a certain winger at Columbus. I just think that's a team, and it's something's not right. I worry because I think there's way more chance that Atlanta rally than Columbus because Atlanta are on the up.
But at least Inter Miami and Columbus, you look at that game and it's 2 teams that have at least got something to play for this season. You mentioned FC Cincinnati, first win at home at TQL. It's finally come against a team where we probably would have expected it would come against Toronto. This was a proper dead game. These two are not doing anything for the rest of the season. So it was good for FC Cincinnati that they finally got that win. Their first win at home.
Toronto's 11th loss on the road.
Yeah, they've lost 5 in a row as well. It's just not going anywhere. I mean, Cincinnati, I guess, would have been our next things to have happened since they won, because it was to 27th of June that they last won. But it's just dead for these two. I mean, FC Cincinnati, it's a recurring thing every season, saying like, "Oh, we need a good end of the season, and they might take it into next year." But is that actually a thing for that? Well, where do we need to? Can they build on this? Is this just they won against a very bad team?
I hate to make it. I don't want to keep coming back to Orlando, but I think they're very relevant in this argument. We said the same thing about Orlando year in, year out. They're now sitting 3rd in the conference. I think you have to. It's like as a Norwich fan, I look at Leicester and go, "Well, Leicester did it once." You know, you have to aspire that something's going to change. But I don't know what there is to change. New stadium, new coach times 3, 4, new roster times 6. I don't know. I'm kind of just lost now. If I'm honest, I don't want to sound stupid, but you kind of just lose patience with teams. Do you know what I mean?
I get that. At least the new stadium gives something new for Cincinnati.
It looks great. It really does look great, and I want them to do well.
Yeah, it gives you at least something to think, well, they could maybe build on it and with the new stadium.
Yeah.
Toronto have just been horrific this season. We felt when they got rid of Chris Armas, they might have a change. It's not happened. They're bottom of the East with 15 points.
Shout out Dom Dwyer. How's that going?
Not very well. He's not going well with any of them, to be honest. So I think for Toronto, it is just a case of just see what you can get the rest of the season. Try and drum up some support for next year. Perez has come in. Maybe he can get to know his team a bit before next season. But nothing's going to happen for them. Rounding off the East then, because there were one cross-conference game, but the last game that featured both teams in the East was Red Bulls versus DC. It ended 1-1 in the end. This was another example of the arm in an unnatural position. We've seen it and we spoke about it quite a few times.
Yeah.
There were two actually this weekend. We'll talk about another one in a minute. But Nealis for Red Bulls. So the Red Bulls had already gone 1-0 up through Yearwood. And then DC got a penalty just before half-time. It was a shot that came in. Nealis' arm, he's put it out as he's gone to... Well, he's kind of gone to shield himself because from the shot. He's hit his arm and gone wide. He's given a penalty. Was it a penalty?
For me, if it's away from the body, arm in unnatural position, I don't think these days... I know it's annoying. I don't think these days there's any argument. And I'll tell you why. It's because I've seen so many... We've all seen it given against our own teams. And we've all been annoyed when it's happened against our own teams. So you just have to... That's the rules now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He went to VAR, so there was at least some debate over it. The referee went and had a look on the screen, but no, he gave it in the end. Ola Kamara put it away.
Don't talk to me about VAR after this weekend in the Premier League. I can't, honestly.
Well, my team, Bolton, won 5-2 this weekend, and we're not in a league that has VAR, so that's the difference.
Even the league above you doesn't have VAR.
No, it doesn't. Right, we'll talk about the one cross-conference game then. SKC beat Chicago. SKC, another good win.
How nice is a cross-conference game?
Yeah, it
For
was
goodness
good.
sake.
Although it was over after 6 minutes because it was 2-0.
I didn't even watch it. I'm annoyed with myself.
Maori scored on his home debut for SKC, but I'm sure he'll be thanking Bobby Shuttleworth for his contribution in the goal. It wasn't great goalkeeping for him. And then Russell made it 2-0 after that. Now, SKC, they're obviously in a position, we spoke about Nashville, where they're 13 points above the playoff line. They're going to get in the playoffs. They're probably not going to be troubling Supporters' Shield unless there's a New England Revolution have a disaster. So is it just a case for them of try and finish as high as possible, get that home game in the playoffs? Or because it can be so awkward this time of year. You're going into the last 8 games thinking, well, we've already achieved what we wanted.
Yeah,
to do.
you've got to do what you've got to do. I've said to you, if Orlando don't make the playoffs, it's a disaster. I'm going weeks back now. I said that's a disaster. We know they're going to be there, and I'm thinking, right, well, how do we get a home tie? You just got to do what you need to do. You have to accept you're not going to win that shield. So home tie is the best they can hope for, and no one's going to remember where they finished. This is the bizarre thing that... people who watch MLS year in, year out, they're used to it. We're not. If you've got 8 games to go and you could finish 5th or 2nd, you're gunning for 2nd. You want to finish 2nd in the Premier League, or the Championship, or that automatic playoff promotion spot in the Championship or League One. It just doesn't really matter.
No.
So you've just got to go right. Okay, well we want the home. They deserve it. Ultimately, they deserve that. Seattle, of course, have earned the right to be in the playoffs and have a home tie. When you're Kansas and Colorado, you're thinking, we've been up there most of the season. We need to cement that. It's the best you can hope for.
Yeah. Well, Seattle won again. They beat Minnesota 1-0. João Paulo with the only goal. Minnesota, they're 6th at the moment. They're 2 points above the playoff line. There's obviously going to be worry there, of course. Is any team in 6th, 7th, even 5th are going to be looking over the shoulders. But I mean, Minnesota have turned it around after a very poor start, so you'd think that they would be okay. There's no harm and no shame going to Seattle, especially for start of the season. They got battered, didn't they? So to lose 1-0 this time is an improvement. But yeah, Minnesota they should be okay, but it's going to be interesting heading into the end of the season, and another team who could fall out.
Portland, Minnesota, RSL, they're in those final 3 playoff spots, and for me, they're not safe. They really, really have to kick on, and for me, the chances are one of those drops out.
Yeah.
That West, the West is very weak this year for me. For Dallas to have the start that they did, and still realistically be in contention,
They got a chance, yeah.
is frightening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This has been such a poor year for the West, and Vancouver's still there after binning off a coach, literally 1 point off.
Yeah.
This is very tight. It's going to be a lot more interesting than the East, I believe, because I think any team from 5th down, maybe excluding Houston and Austin, could beat anyone.
Yep. Well, you mentioned there about Vancouver. They have ended their 10-match unbeaten run in 8th, which I'm sure they would have took 10 matches ago. But one thing, the ending their unbeaten run, it means that they have also lost the MLS UK Show Championship Champions Belt. Said that wrong, but we'll just paint over that. Vancouver, they held it for an impressive 9 occasions.
Is that some kind of record?
I think it is a record, yeah. So they last time we spoke to you, we'd said they got Austin, they beat Austin,
Yeah.
and then they have played the last 4 home, games at home. I've got to point that out.
Doesn't matter. Luck of the draw.
But they lost this weekend at home to Portland Timbers 1-0, and they give up the belt. So Portland Timbers are our new champions. So well done to them. They are 5th now, Portland, and you said there they will be looking over the shoulder, but they've done well. They've won, the last few games, all been away, I think, as well. They're showing signs now that they actually mean business, and they will continue this run going into the playoffs.
And they face Colorado next.
They do.
If there's a team that deserve this championship, it's Colorado.
There is, but you never know. Maybe having the MLS UK Show Championship belt around their waist could be a distraction. Maybe we could help Colorado fail. We don't want that.
No, you don't want that. I'm just trying to find out who Colorado are playing after that. Hang fire.
Well, this weekend they drew 1-1 at home to LA Galaxy.
Vancouver!
Oh,
It could be going back to Vancouver. They've got a chance.
imagine what a farce this season is. But Colorado drew 1-1. They're unbeaten in 8 now, Colorado. So it would just make sense, wouldn't it, that they would eventually lose to Vancouver. LA Galaxy are placed below them in 4th in the table. 37 points. They're 8 above the playoff line, but they're 5 behind Colorado, who place above them. So LA Galaxy are in. If there's any team in the middle of nowhere, it is LA Galaxy. Chicharito was back, though, which is a big positive. He didn't score, but he was back for the first time in 12 games.
Sorry, Vancouver also play Houston after that. Imagine.
I'm not having... If Houston end up our champions, then I'm retiring the belt.
Sorry,
no one can have it.
carry on. I just got distracted by what would be absolutely genius.
LA Galaxy, Chicharito's back, so that's good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing. We said before, if they'd have had him the whole season, personally, I feel like they could be second and they would be pushing Seattle. The form he was in, if he'd have carried that all the way through, I personally think that they'd be up there with SKC challenging Seattle. We're never going to know. We're never going to find out. But there's still a chance that they absolutely make that top 4 for me. But they'll be hunting down Colorado.
They will, yeah. Trying to get into the 3rd place. I can't remember the way it works out with who's at home at what stage. But yeah, LA Galaxy with their crowd as well for a playoff match, which would be their first playoff match in a few years. I
think wouldn't Seattle get the bye?
Yeah.
And then Kansas, Colorado, and LA would get the home.
Right.
Versus Portland, Minnesota, and RSL, is that right?
Well, LA Galaxy will, either way, they'll want a home game, won't they? Because of the crowd, there'll be intense atmosphere. So, that should be interesting.
This is why it's a shame that Portland are not up there for me, because I think that would be a real interesting prospect, having Providence Park rammed full for the playoff game, but it's looking like they're a little wide of the mark.
Well, we've got a third of a season to go. We'll see. We're going to be talking about LA Galaxy's. I will mention LA Galaxy's LA rivals in a moment. I want to finish our roundup on them. But before we do, there's only one more other game to talk about. FC Dallas 1, San Jose 1. Pepe scored again. He scored for the US men's national team in the week as well. I mean, this guy is just the FC Dallas Twitter account. I don't think we'll have anything to talk about if he leaves. But good to see he scored again. He scored 4 in his last 3 games for Dallas now. This kid's incredible.
Yeah, as you know, I get up at 4 a.m. for work every day. And when in that the other US men's national team game, the FC Dallas account was just absolutely lit. Like, when's he coming on? Why is he not on yet? When's he coming on? And I got to work and I was like, wonder if he came. Oh dear, they're not going to be happy.
But this was the other game where there was a debatable penalty. Hedges. So San Jose got a penalty after 5 minutes. Hedges slid in to tackle. The ball hit his arm as he was on the floor, and it was not in a natural position. Again, is this? Are we just going to draw a line under this now and say if this happens, this is a penalty?
Harsh, yes. Unnatural position, yes.
Okay.
Penalty.
San Jose, 3 points off the playoffs now. The same points as LAFC, who we're going to talk about in a second. Are they in contention?
Genuinely believe that LAFC, who we'll get to, Vancouver, San Jose, and Dallas were all in contention still.
The last game then, LAFC, this was, as we record this on the Monday, this was early Monday morning for us, so I've not really seen much of the game. But I wanted to do this last because we have we played it for Houston, the Celebration Horn, and we had a message on our YouTube page on one of the comments from a guy called Brian who listens to the show and watches the show, and he said, are you going to make a big deal? This was last week of LAFC beating SKC, which is a great win, we've got to say.
Yeah.
Because he pointed out, obviously Rossi's left, he's gone to Fenerbahce. Vea has been on and off, so it was a big win. He said, are you going to give LAFC praise? And then he went last night and beat RSL 3-2. So Elliot, press the button. We are going to give them some praise. Well done, LAFC.
Yeah,
wins.
I'll jump on that. I think they've brought themselves into contention, not just mathematically, but I think mentally. I think the win against RSL is huge. They're the team that they're battling it against. You know, they're the team in that final spot. And I think they've laid down a marker there. Like you say, like Brian says, no Rossi, Vea in, out, shaking it all about, and not really shaking a lot. I really think that was a massive statement. I personally think they'll make playoffs. I think Bob Bradley gets LAFC into the playoffs regardless of who's on that field and who isn't. Yeah. I think it just happens. And I know you'll probably agree. It's whether it's Minnesota or RSL that drop out. And I think for me, I've backed Minnesota all season. So all eyes on RSL.
You look at the 7 that are going to be in the playoffs. We could give 7 names. Chances are 3 of them are going to drop. It could be anything. I
think just not because of something Portland, Minnesota, or RSL have done. It's not based on form. I think based on MLS, one of those doesn't make it.
But who? Comment at MLS UK Show, if you're brave enough, that is, on Twitter and Instagram, or comment on YouTube in the comments below. Tell us who you think will make the playoffs in both conferences, but in particular the West.
Elliot Holman, Henry Hewitt, MLS UK Show.
Henry Hewitt, come on down. Come on down. Smooth. Welcome to the Jason Christ is Right. In the last episode, we did total career appearances. How did that go for you?
Not very well, but you did add some players that hadn't played in MLS, so it kind of threw me a bit.
Yeah, Matt Holland.
Yeah.
Today, all players have played in MLS. And because of the international break, we are looking at their international appearances.
Ooh, okay.
So, your first player is Sean Wright Phillips. Do you want to have a guess how many appearances he made for England?
I think he played quite a lot. I'd say 30?
36 is a good guess.
Okay.
I'll give you that. But did Carl Robinson play more for Wales or less?
Let's say slightly less.
It was more, 52.
Ah, okay.
52 appearances. Has Carl Robinson made more appearances than Luis Nani?
Oh, Nani for Portugal. I'd say he played more than 52. I'm going to go higher.
You think Nani's played more?
Yeah.
He has 112.
Has he?
Yes.
Wow.
112 appearances for Portugal. However, how about Javi Hernandez?
Or for Mexico. I think he'd have played a lot, but less.
Less?
Yeah.
Correct. By 3.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, 108. Okay, well, 109 it would be.
Yeah. How about Zlatan Ibrahimovic? Higher or lower than 109? I think this is tough.
Yeah, this is tough. It's not going to be many, I don't think, either side. I'm going to say slightly less, though.
It's more 118, sorry. Higher or lower than 118? Michael Bradley, of course, for the United States of America.
Yeah, less.
It's more, it's 151. It's not going well. Right, redeem yourself. More than 151 or less, Wayne Rooney.
Less, definitely. I don't think anyone's made 150 appearances for England.
120.
Yeah.
Yeah. Higher or lower, Kai Kamara for Sierra Leone.
Oh. Just say less. I don't know.
It's much less, 33.
Oh, really?
I thought it'd be loads more.
Oh.
And higher or lower than 33. This is an interesting one.
Go on.
This is your final one. Jassy Zardes for the US men's national team.
Oh.
Higher or lower than 33?
More.
You think?
Yeah.
62.
Yes,
Yeah,
there
good
we
work. You got at least one right there. Well done.
Better than last time, I've got to say. I'm improving slightly.
Slightly. That concludes another episode of the Jason Christ is Right. Henry Hewitt, thank you very much for playing. Sit down.
Oh, okay. Now nowhere near the mic. We need to have a look as we head into the dying embers of this episode of the MLS UK show.
Wow, that's very posh for you. You're
Thank
from
you.
Manchester. You can't say dying embers.
You may have seen, and I normally I don't post what we've done in our predictions, but I was that shocked last time that I felt the need to on our MLS UK show Twitter account, because you were hopeless. At the start of the season, you were awful in predictions. Now you've managed to claw it back to 4-3. Last time, on the last episode, you correctly, and this must be a record, you correctly predicted 4 results.
Can you tell me which ones? Because when you posted the thing saying that I'd done really well, I couldn't work out which ones I'd got and which ones I hadn't.
You correctly predicted that Philadelphia would lose 1-0 to New England Revolution. Houston would lose 2-0 to Portland. Vancouver would beat Austin 2-1, and then Colorado would win at San Jose 1-0. And you correctly predicted all of them results. So you got 40 points from that. Because remember, 5 points for a correct outcome, 10 for a correct score. So you got 40 points. You won 50 points to 15. The only one I almost got right
Almost.
was, if you remember, I predicted that Cincy and Miami would end 0-0.
Yeah.
Breck Shea ruined that in the 90th minute.
Do you remember I changed one of those as well?
And you did, and you got it right.
Yeah.
So well done. I mean, I've got to say that, all jokes aside, well done, because that was really impressive. So it's now 4-3. So this is a big one, this predictions. It's a double game week. So, of course, we only do it for the upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
But in midweek, there are quite a lot of games, actually. We've got... so this is on Wednesday morning, Tuesday night. Tuesday night in the States, Wednesday morning in the UK. Columbus versus Red Bulls, New York City versus Dallas, Toronto versus Miami. There's also Seattle versus Laguna.
Leagues Cup, isn't it?
Leagues Cup, yeah. So, of course, we want all MLS teams to do well in that, so good luck to Seattle. Then on Wednesday night / Thursday morning in the UK, Atlanta versus Cincinnati, which...
if you don't win that.
Yeah, that is a game that I tweeted after the result the other night saying the next two are big. If we don't win that, then we don't deserve the playoffs. DC versus Chicago, Orlando versus Montreal, SKC versus Minnesota, Austin versus LAFC, the CONCACAF Champions League. It's the first leg, Philadelphia versus Club America. Good luck to Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're at home as well. That's good.
Yeah, sorry, it's the second leg. America winning 2-0 on aggregate. So good luck to Philadelphia. We hope we turn it around. Portland versus Colorado, LA Galaxy versus Houston, San Jose versus RSL, and then we go into early Saturday morning, Friday night in the UK. So that's where our predictions will start.
Okay.
Starting with Inter Miami versus Red Bulls.
Yeah. I fancy Miami here. 1-0 home win.
I'm going to go 2-1. I think it'll be close like you, but I think Miami will win in the end and they'll continue their good form.
Okay.
Saturday evening, Atlanta versus DC.
Atlanta win this for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it'll be 2-0.
This should be a really good game. DC are playing good football. Atlanta play good football. They carry on playing like we did against Orlando. So it should be a big game. I'm going to have to go with an Atlanta win. Of course I am. I would love them to get 6 points, even though I do think, having watched Atlanta the last 2 years, they will drop points in one of these games at home. But no, I fancy Atlanta to win. I think 3-1. I think we'll score 3 goals again.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you: is there any way Columbus get a result away at Gillette Stadium?
No.
No. Okay.
Sadly.
I'm going 3-1 New England.
2-0 New England.
Okay. Cincinnati versus NYCFC.
Cincy will be encouraged by getting the first win at home. Then they'll inevitably beat Atlanta. But I know NYCFC have had injuries and stuff, but I just can't see them losing at Cincinnati. I think it'll be 1-0.
2-0 for me, NYC. And Nashville, who are second in the East, travel to bottom of the league, Toronto.
Yeah, well, Nashville, I think it was a draw once it went Toronto. I think it was one of the first games back at BMO Field. But since then, the momentum from being back in Toronto is just gone. So I think Nashville, they've had some good results away. I think that will continue. I think it'll be 2-0.
3-1 I'm going for. Big score. Austin are at home to San Jose. I'm going for a draw here. I'm going 2-2.
This is big for San Jose. I think they're going to show momentum heading into the last part of the season. They need to be winning games like this. I can see Austin. I just can't see San Jose winning the game. I don't think they're going to get that consistency. So I think Austin, it'll be 1-0. We'll just scrape a win somehow.
Okay. Minnesota are at home to LA. For me, LA win this 2-1 on the road.
Yeah, well, this is a big game, Minnesota v LA Galaxy. I think it's big for both teams. Both teams wanting to consolidate their place in the playoffs. I can see Minnesota. I don't think they'll lose. So I think it'll be a draw. I think 2-2.
Okay. RSL host Seattle. I'm going big here.
Yeah.
4-1 Seattle.
4-1.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't ask me why.
I don't think it'll be that emphatic myself. I think it'll be 2-1 to Seattle.
Okay. How do you fancy a Texas derby? Houston against FC Dallas.
Well, Houston going to continue their run. Dallas won a few weeks ago, didn't they, at Houston? But I think it'll be a draw. I think 2-2.
I'm going for a 1-0 Dallas win.
Club de Foot Montreal. This is on Sunday evening versus Chicago.
I think Chicago win this,
Really?
Yeah.
I think Montreal.
Don't ask me why.
I know they got beat against Nashville, but I think they're quite strong at home. I think Montreal will win 3-2.
I'm going 2-1 Chicago. Don't let me down, boys.
Philadelphia versus Orlando. Come on, Philadelphia. Don't let me down, boys.
We'll lose this. 2-0 Philly.
I think you'll score, but I think Philadelphia will score more. I think 2-1.
Okay. Portland versus LAFC. This is tasty.
Yes.
I actually think Portland will win this, but I don't want that to be a slight on LA's chances in making the playoffs. But I do think Portland win this, and I'm gonna go 3-2 goals.
We've kind of gone similar on a lot of scores this week, but I fancy Portland to win. So I'm not gonna go as high in terms of both teams scoring as you. I think it'd be 2-1 to Portland.
Okay. Finally, Colorado against Vancouver.
Colorado v Vancouver. Potentially an MLS UK Show Championship game. The irony would be just beautiful if it was. Portland and LAFC could be a championship game as well, by the way. Colorado versus Vancouver then. I think Colorado win. They're at home. I think it'll be 3-0.
2-0 Colorado.
So let us know what you think. Send us your predictions at MLS UK Show, Twitter, Instagram, or you can type them in the comments on YouTube, or you can email us hello@mls.show.
Right, before we go, do you want to know who the game with the changing name player is?
I already know, but yeah, go on, run through. I tell you what then, just in case there's anyone who doesn't know, why don't you run through their full career path? Because there was a Premier League team that you omitted from it, didn't you?
Yeah, so they've played for Inter Milan, Newcastle United, Wolfsburg, Rubin Kazan, went on loan to Birmingham City, Levante, Seattle Sounders for 2 seasons, and then Shanghai, and currently playing for Wuhan.
How many times he played for Nigeria?
42.
Oh, right, okay. So he's in between Kai Kamara and
Carl Robinson.
Carl Robinson, yeah. It's of course Obafemi Martins, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Scared me there. Well done if you got it right. Well done if you didn't have to skip to the end to get it right as well. So that's almost it for us. I just want to say as well, thank you if you voted for us in the football content. Oh, leave that Atlanta shirt. Oh, right. Okay. That makes sense. He's, for those who are just listening, he's showing us our silver award for the Football Content Awards last year. You can put that Atlanta shirt back on now because I'm going to screenshot as much as I can the episode with you with an Atlanta shirt in front of you. Yep. Go on. No, I'm not going to use that one, that face you're pulling. Thank you if you voted for us in the Football Content Awards. We really appreciate it. It's now closed. I think the actual awards is on the 14th of October. I think it's in London. We'll be going down. Poppy, who does the kit reviews, will be coming with us as well as a part of Team.
Can I have one?
As part of Team MLS UK Show. So thank you very much if you voted for us. I know a few of you were tweeting saying, giving us your support, not only tweeting a vote, but also tweeting help these guys out. So we really appreciate all the help. And so thank you very much.
Indeed. By the way, as much as we've hassled you to vote for us, could you also please leave us a rating and a review on your podcast provider, please?
Yeah, what's the key phrase this week? What should we use?
Ooh,
That noise, no one can see this or hear it, but Elliot's dog has been in the studio the whole show, and Elliot making that noise has just woke the dog up. Go on. What's the key phrase?
Okay, because Finn the dog is here. Atlanta have got their own dog, so I thought the podcast should have its own dog. I think you should title your review, don't press pause. Get it? Pause.
Don't press pause. Yeah.
Pause, like a dog's got pause. And
Yeah.
it means pause, like PAWS.
We got it.
Instead of PAU.
So if you leave us a rating, leave us a review saying that, then we will mention it on the next episode. We'd appreciate it. Also, subscribe on YouTube as well and click that notification bell.
The things on the end of their legs.
Yeah.
Pause.
Okay. I guess the show is done as well. I guess there's one thing for me to say. See ya.